2024 NBA playoffs are here. Only right that we bring a familiar face. Phoenix Suns assistant coach John Lucas III joins us. Brother, what's going on?
How you doing, B? I'm doing good.
Making it happen. You are too.
Trying to. I'm trying to.
Yeah. You guys, the last time you picked up a basketball was the last game of the season. You played the Timberwolves.
Mhm.
You played in the last game of the season. You go home. You fly back. Was the last game of the season worth the trip? Not in a picking sort of way, but did you guys take any notes going into game one during the last game of the season?
I mean, I think we take every game seriously. Every game mattered, especially being in the West. Like nobody knew exactly where they was going to end up seeding wise until the games was over. Because everybody was so close. Even 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way down was still close. So you had to go into the game as like it was a playoff game. Every possession counts. Can't miss out on opportunities and take care of the ball because the game of basketball is about game of runs, and you just want to have the best runs you can for the long period of time, and not for a short period of time. So if you look at all the games was very intense, even though the scores might have looked a little bit lopsided, but if you watch the first beginning of the games, you could see the intensity of all the games and what the games meant to both teams and to the players.
The biggest criticism that you guys have had from experts has been that you guys don't have a point guard. Bradley Beal was your starting point guard for most of the season. Why do you think that was such a thing in the eyes of the people? Did you ever feel as though that was an unfair characterization?
The game of basketball positions is now. Don't nobody really have a position in basketball. You put out your 5 best guys. Now you put guys in situations where they can succeed. And Brad's done a hell of a job. He restructured his whole game to fit our structure. So now he's more of a facilitator, but also being aggressive at the same time. Where in DC he was always the scorer, and you can see his game is elevating in a lot of ways that I think a lot of people didn't know that he had in his bag. So he's just showing and proving people wrong that don't put a ceiling and don't put a limit on his game. He can really be in multiple roles and do multiple things on that court.
J3, I think Bradley Beal shifting to the point guard position with self-preservation. That's me. When you look at Washington, he scored a lot, like you said, and now he's in a situation where you're playing alongside Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic, and more, and Frank Vogel's system. But I also think when you look at any Vogel system, the big guard is always going to distribute. You look at LeBron, you look at even during his time in Indiana with Paul George. What makes Frank Vogel's system in today's NBA so different than some other people's systems?
A lot of ways, but Frank is a player's coach. He's going to put his players in the best situation. If he feels like you can't do something, he's not going to make you try to do something that you're not comfortable with doing and he's not comfortable with you doing. That's why I say he's a player's coach. He's always looking out for his guys. He's always going to put his guys in the best position to achieve and, to whatever the best for the team. He's never going to ask for you to do nothing that you're not capable of doing or trying to put something on your plate you can't handle. And he's good at figuring out the other ways to find that niche or find that in somebody else or if what that we need. So with that being said, with Paul George, you brought a good one, LeBron, now Brad, but even with KD and Book, like a lot of pressure has been taken out of those guys because of Brad, and Brad has got a lot of pressure taken off of him because of those guys. But our guys that the rest of our team has been great. Come in, Nas Little's been good. Royce O'Neal has come from the trade, big impact. Grayson Allen having one of the best seasons of his career. He just signed an extension today. Like, it's a way how Frank can tap into the players and get everybody underneath the same accord. Is what makes it good.
Oh, for sure, definitely. John Lucas III joined us, talking all things Suns, and even with the AAU season around the corner, we got to tap into what you're doing in the offseason after you guys win a championship, of course. Hey, three. When I look at this system, you being on Frank Vogel, you're not a stranger to Frank, having been on his bench as an assistant, along with Mal Simon in Los Angeles. Um, how much does that camaraderie in LA carry over to Phoenix?
I just think it's a group of guys that are familiar with each other. We know we all speak in the same language when we're trying to deliver the message to the players. We're voice of coach. That is, everybody's just saying the same exact terminology, same exact strategy. And we have each other's back. That's what makes our coaching staff pretty strong niche, in my opinion. And it's been great working with Kevin Young. I've never worked with him before. Coach Young, who was here previous before we got here. His IQ of the game has been great. Like learning from him as well. Same with Greg St. Janine, who was in Dallas last year, but who was in Frank with Frank in LA, and then went with J Kidd to Dallas. So this was my first time working with them, and it's like nobody missed a beat. Everybody was already on board with what was the task at hand. And for us, we love to go on coaches retreats. We like to go to dinners just to have that close bond and niche, and break bread, but also talk ball at the same time. But also get to know each other's families, what each one of us got going on. And that's what I really enjoy about being on this coaching staff, and also being with Frank is he's a family oriented man, but he also is serious about basketball. But he has shown me how to balance both in a good way. And I used to always be basketball, 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 and season over then family. But now I have watched him and Fizdale and Kevin Young and Miles Simon, of those who have families, how they balance the two where it's not overtaking. And that's pretty big, in my opinion, because now each one of us have something more than basketball, but we also love the game just as much as, the next person does.
Man, you said a mouthful. Coaches retreats and Frank Vogel and the rest of the staff having a balance. What do coaches retreats consist of?
It's just about us, just like any other day. Like if you watch Hard Knock Life or any other thing, it's before training camp starts. The coaches get together. We go over our defense. What's our defense philosophy? What's our schemes? What are we trying to incorporate? How you think? What should we do defensively? And then also what offense will work for our team? What sets? What group of five to see what it looks like. And it just, you break everything down. And so when you go into camp, everybody's on the same page. It's not like nobody's left behind or somebody has to catch up and learn. No, that was that week of bonding. That was that week of, staying in the conference room, meetings after meetings after meetings, but tackling the task at hand. So when camp starts, we already 10 steps ahead of the game. So that's what a coaching retreat is. And it's to get to know your staff and the bond.
I like it. You've been around a lot of greats. Kobe, being friends with him, knowing him from living on the main line right outside of Philly. Your dad, of course, coaching, and of course you being friends with LeBron through your dad coaching, and just on your own. And then being an assistant coach with the Lakers, and then you're in a situation with Kevin. I'm curious because you're more than qualified to answer this question. How are Kobe, Kevin, and LeBron all wired similarly, and how are they different?
They're wired similar because they love the game. They study the game. There's not a day go by you don't see Braun with a iPad or a computer or some kind of screen watching basketball. And everybody plays, their tendencies, what players is going to do what, at what certain time, when they catch a ball at this position. Like, that's cold. Kobe's the same way. Braun is, and KD is the exact same as well. I know people gave him like slack. I listen to Stephen A. I listen to all these guys talking about he's not a leader. He does, like, that's far from it. He leads by example. He's just not who people want him to be. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, everybody has their own personality and everybody lead in a certain different way. It's not a stamp to be like, this is what a leader looks like. At the end of the day, it's like he leads by example and he lifts his teammates up. Same thing with Devin Booker. Same thing with Brad Beal, Nurk. Like everybody has some type of leadership tendencies in them. It's just a matter of how they express themselves, or how people want them to express themselves. But don't nobody knows what's happening behind closed doors when the guys are in the locker room and they're discussing what's going on the court, who's the most vocal one, who's this. Everybody else get to see who's on the court when the TV's on and what the body language and the mannerism and all that look like, but they don't get to see what the behind the scenes look like, where the real leadership roles come out.
Mm-hmm. How are they different?
They're different in a lot of ways. Everybody's approach is different,
Mm-hmm.
right? LeBron's a vocal leader. He's very talkative, very communicative. Like, you know what I'm saying? He communicates the actions, telling people where they need to be at what times, like leading that way, but also leading as an example. Kobe leads as an example, like, okay, this is how we should do it. I'm going to show you because I'm doing it myself. K is the exact same, but he is a little bit of both, but more quiet, but also he'll be like, let me show you how to get a bucket real quick. Keep it simple. And he's going to go on about his business and let you see it. So it's like they all have different leadership, but they all have that dog in them.
Sure. What was your relationship with Isaiah Thomas before he joined the Suns?
With IT? The player IT, right?
Yes, IT, your current player on the bench, IT.
Yeah, that's like little bro. You know, that he, when he first got in the league, I was a fan of him in college. Him and my little brother are really close. Fan of his college because, he's only 5'9", got 13 years in the league, been an all-star, done a lot of amazing things. And what I love about him is he's writing his own book. He didn't let nobody write him off. And I see myself a lot in that in him. So when he got here, I was just so happy because I'm like, man, they counted you out. Like, you was like, forget that. Like, I go in the trenches. When I say the trenches, go back to the G League because he never had to do that. You go from being here, and then now you got to kind of be humble and be like, this is what I want to do. I got to go back and work my way back up. And he did that. And that shows, like, relentless. You know what I'm saying? Like his brand say, that's that slow grind. You just got to, put your blinders on, listen to the inside voice and not the outside noises.
As you're describing that, I promise you, I'm the visual side of me is envisioning the beginning to God did, and I'm hearing DJ Khaled say, they didn't believe in us. They kept it up. God did.
Right. You got to be your own motivator. You got to be your own cheerleader. And you just quiet the noise. You just quiet the noise and you just stay working. Because eventually the work is going to show. And it did. He went to the G League, did what he was supposed to do, got called up, and look, he's with us. And that's a testimony to his grit and his grind.
I'm with it. March Madness recently passed. It came and went. OSU was in the thick of things, and a lot of people started recounting your time at the school. Did you get flashbacks? Was your phone ringing a lot? What was some of the feedback you were getting as they were going in through the tournament?
I think I got more calls this year because it was the 20th anniversary of when we did go to the Final Four, and that the coaching job was available. But it's always a special time around this time because this is some of the best basketball you see in college. You see the guys just leave it all on the court. Each and every school, men's and women's, was unbelievable this year. But like it's nothing like that feeling of like playing in the four with your brothers, with the guys that you go to war with every day, and it's like each and every game matter. Like this could be our last game playing together, so it means something a lot more. And you want to do it for the university, do it for the school body and stuff. So it was great seeing everybody out here because it was in Phoenix, but it was also just great to see good basketball.
Yeah, it was. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this as you're talking about good basketball. Everybody watched all that stuff with Nurkic and Draymond earlier in the season. Had you ever seen Nurkic that mad? And what was, I guess, can you take me inside the locker room and just how guys felt about all of that then?
It's different for me. I can't really speak for everybody, but that to me that's basketball. To me, that's playing mind games. To me, that's trying to get underneath your opponent's skin. Like I know both of those guys are great. It's just like the other day, Brad Beal and Edwards got into it. But that's normal when you come from where we come from, of the like them hostile environments of playing at the park and stuff like that. That's competitive side. That's basketball. It's no harm. It's nothing. It's like I'm better than you. You better than me. You say that, we gotta show me. It might be a little pushing and shoving, but that's ball. You from New York. You go any corner, play ball. It's gonna be something like that.
Yeah.
I don't care where you at. And like to me, I don't mind it. I actually like it. It actually turns the intensity up.
It gave me 90s basketball flashback. It gave me Lonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
It's a different game now.
It is a different game. It's a lot of different rules, but at the end of the day, when you get that, you know you're gonna get the best of that person because now you got to back that up.
You do.
And that's what I like. So I like it when it be like a little bit of altercations and stuff like that in the game because I know it ain't gonna go further than that. But it also wakes you up like, okay, let's go. Let's lace them up now. All right, I'm here. You here? Let's go. And it's gonna be the best man, mano a mano.
And it's going to be that in the playoffs. It's a brand new game. Do you find that in the playoffs, it's more half court and it slows down, or is that just something people say because it sounds good when the beginning of the playoffs start?
No, it's every possession counts. Every possession counts. Can't have no loose possessions because that one loose possession can cost you a series. You see the intensity. People gonna crank up their defense. People not gonna take loosey-goosey shots like they would take in a regular season. You're going to see some real high-quality shots. You're going to see what's the best-looking shot. Not like the most circus shot that you see during the season. You're going to see high-quality shots. And you're going to see defensive schemes. Not going to be too many driving the ball, too many paint. It's just everybody knows every possession and every game from now on is important.
I asked Nasri if he had to name a car, like if he could categorize a car that Anthony Edwards was, what would it be? He said it would be a red Lambo. I take that in my place. What kind of car would Kevin Durant be?
I mean, that's a Kevin Durant question. I don't know what kind of car Kevin Durant would be. I think he can be multiple cars.
What kind of car would the Phoenix Suns as a whole be?
18-wheeler.
Got
a car. A Mack truck. It's not about how fast you get it's how you got to go through to get there. A Lambo ain't going to go through a lot of people, but a Mack truck going to go through everything.
I don't want to give the Timberwolves too much cereal, sir. But what I will ask is this. Are the Phoenix Suns record indicative upon their skill?
You know what? It's funny you say that because we don't really look at the record like that because we dealt with a lot of injuries in the beginning of the season. We barely had the three of the guys at multiple times. But, you know, now that we're finally healthy, we're finally getting to see what we really could have all year. So our whole thing was to get to the playoffs, and then once you get to the playoffs, it's a new season. Don't matter what your record is at all, because now everybody's 0-0.
I feel like the Suns going into the season were favorited just because of the roster. And as an expert myself, I looked at the Denver Nuggets. I think they've been consistent. They've been quite consistent. I think the Thunder surprised a lot of people, although they didn't surprise me because they're young and they're cohesive. You look at the Timberwolves, young and cohesive. But then you look at the Clippers, they're rugged. You look at you guys, they're rugged. Just as a basketball observer, East and West, what teams have team or teams have you found yourself watching and have been impressed besides your own?
I've been impressed with the Knicks, OKC, Clippers, um, Denver, obviously, even the Timberwolves. Very impressed with them. Sacramento Kings. Like, I've been impressed with a lot of teams. It's not one team. I'm just like a lot of teams has improved. A lot of teams, like the Boston Celtics, like continue to keep getting better and better every year. So it's like you just get to see the improvements of. If I had to pick one, it would be OKC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just from that, what the coach has done this year, he deserved the coach of the year that he got. But Shea and Williams, Chet, all those young guys, young and hard, they all hungry, man. I'm a big fan of Shea. Shea, to me, like he said, he just makes it consistent. Everything he do is consistent, and it shows. I've seen him work in the summer with his trainer Olin out in LA. Seen him every year just get better and better. And I see how he's uplifting, and he's also helping along the next teammate. I see how much, he believes in Williams, the second year player. He's like, in the games, I see Shea going to him to go get the bucket to win the game. That shows it just shows a lot. You can see those guys are actually really enjoy playing with each other.
You are Mr. AAU. You have your hands on a lot of different things, and you have the ear of many. For those who are tardy to the party, tell us more about what you do when you're not on the sideline as an assistant coach with the Phoenix Suns.
I'm all about changing lives. My AAU program is doing amazing, just like every other AAU program is doing. But our whole thing is for our kids to get scholarships. Our kids to get a full ride in college. Now, we don't know if you're going to be a pro or not, but we can put a stamp that you're going to get a scholarship for sure. We're going to put you in the right situation. You're going to get the proper work, the proper player development work. You're going to be coached very well, where you can go play for any and everybody because you're going to know where to be on the court. It's about educating the players, educating the parents, but it's also about the mentorship, the leadership, and also having conflict resolution, where we not always going to agree, but just trust me, we're going to get both what we need to get out of it. And our kids right now, we have 100% rate of all of our kids going to school on a full ride to D1 schools. So that's our biggest joy, at least for me, my father, and my little brother. Our biggest joy is to see these kids achieve, especially like kids that come from certain situations that's trying to change the dynamic of their family situation by helping out, by being student athletes is what we always talk about. You're a student first before you're an athlete. Education is really big in our family. So we really preach that, and then we get to the work on the basketball court, but them grades got to be right.
Where can people find more information about your program?
Man, you can follow JL3 Elite on IG. You can follow JohnLucasResources.com. It's all over. We got Camp Galore. Rising Star Camp is coming up pretty soon, which is a middle school camp for the top 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in the country. Then we'll have our big time high school camp in September for men and women coming up as well. And then I'm excited about the MBPA. It's still going to be a part of the top 100 camp. The MBPA, there's going to be my 5th year being over the coaching program. With the likes of being around some of the next players that's going to be in the NBA. Last 2 years we had G.G. Jackson, seeing him play for Memphis Grizzlies, going off of 44, being like watching his growth, where he actually have reached out because he wants to be a part of the coaching program. I think it'd be great because he was just recently there 2 years ago. So he's already thinking about that next step after basketball, if it's coaching. That's one thing the NBPA does very well is we have the coaching program. You want to get in real estate, they have a real estate program. You want to get in the front office program. Now that a lot of guys are trying to get into the fashion world, they have fashion program where they go to Italy, to Milan, to all these different places and get to go to the factories of, Hugo Boss or Armani or Christian Louis Vuitton, get to see the men effect. So the NBPA always does great things about setting you up for life after basketball.
You heard it first, brother. I know you're busy. I see you came in representing the Suns. I need one of those in the size 3X, by the way. But I'm excited to see you shine, and I'm excited to see you guys go to the finals potentially.
Appreciate it. We got to go one game at a time. Can't look ahead of nobody. That's our motto. We just get one game at a time.
A Mack truck, he said.
Yes, sir. We got to go through it. Can't go around anybody. Got to go through them, right? So that's what we're going to do.
Brother, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.